I'm at home again in a hotel room somewhere in the universe. I'm glad we have this chance to be together, even though I'm not home. We won't be able to sing in here, otherwise they'll throw me out of the hotel. So we're gonna, after the Q&A, however long that is, we're gonna play a bunch of the music videos that we have from the past, somewhere in the past. Okay, Katie, do we always need to chant inside or not? Because we can't pay attention to worldly things when we are chanting. How to deepen inside attention when not paying attention towards the name, the space of the name. Yes, at first, when you're doing your practice, you kind of relinquish the paying attention to outside things. And when anything interrupts the flow of your concentration, you release it and you come back again to the name. But over time, you will find that the name goes on repeating itself within you. But that comes after practice. That's a fruit and a result of doing some sincere practice for a particular length of time. In fact, the name is going on all the time within us, because the name is almost like an echo of our soul, which is always present, always here, our own being. And we're tuning ourselves to that echo, and we're moving into the sound. And the sound is the sound form of the formless presence within us. And that presence is the same in all beings. So it's a progression of deepening, of awareness, of realization. And as time goes on, you begin to identify the things that pull you out of that presence. For instance, selfishness, anger, greed, shame, fear, lust that is that locks you into yourself and others, and you're trying to get something from the outside. All those things that I mentioned have to do with a relationship to what we think is the external world. So we start to notice how those things pull us out of ourselves. And we simply come back again and again to the name. But eventually, our inner space expands, our inner presence. We recognize it to be everywhere all the time, and we recognize everybody is in it. So you begin to understand that one has to develop kindness and compassion and caring for others, and replace the fear and the anxiety and the manipulative, egoistic greed and desire that mostly motivates us. And we have to replace those things with positive, I don't even like the word positive, with real qualities that will free us from the prison of our ego, of our small mind, our small self. So yes, at first you can't really pay attention to the outside world that well when you're doing your practice. And I think at first you shouldn't. I remember when we did this, we recorded Live on Earth for a limited time only in Pittsburgh. And as we were leaving to drive back to New York, they gave us some rough mixes on cassette to take with us. So Nina took one in her car, and I took one in my car. And as I gave her the cassette, I said, you know, remember, it speeds up. So watch yourself on the road, you know? And so she took off. And then a few minutes later, we took off. And about 20 minutes later, as we were driving on the highway, I saw her pulled over by a cop on the side of the road. So I called her and she picks up the phone. I go, Radhesham. And she said, how did you know? Because so she wasn't paying attention to the outside world because she was singing and lost the proper behavior for the speed limit, so to speak, in this case. So that's what happens at first. You need to let go of that at first in order to develop a little concentration. The first step in any practice is really to try to develop a little bit of ability to pay attention. And it's not easy, but you're not supposed to grab it and hold it like this. The image that's often given is the image of a woman in India carrying a bucket of water on her head, or a clay pot of water on her head. She's gone to the well to get the water, and now she's walking back to the village or her place. And she's talking to her friends, and she's walking and gossiping, having a good time. But she never forgets that she has the water on the top of her head so it doesn't fall. They say that's how much attention one should pay to the repetition of the name. You always know it's there. There's a part of you that's aware of it in a deep way. You're not like standing there like this, I'm aware of then you fall and trip. So there's some awareness of it, but it's not grabbing it and squeezing it. It's a relaxed attention that deepens in a relaxed way over time. So, can a person be a devotee of multiple Hindu gods, or can you only devote to one? Yes. There's only one God. That God lives within us as our own true self, our own true nature. What we call God at first you think it's out there, it's something else, somewhere else, but it's not the case. And as far as the so-called Hindu gods, do we even know what that means? Do we even know what it means, the Hindu gods? What are the gods? They're beings, not different than us, except they're older, so to speak, and they've been on the path longer, and they've realized many things. They've transformed, and they've let go of the small separate self. So the so-called deities are really our beings. And, we use a lot of words and we don't know what they mean. I mean, you think that this is a reasonable question. Can a person be a devotee of multiple Hindu gods? Why not? When you're in love, everybody's lovable. Everybody's included. When you're in real love, everything is included. The so-called Hindu deities you can think of them as doorways into your own true nature, doorways into the reality of the universe, paths into your own true self. And sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. We sing to Krishna, we sing to Ram, we sing to Kali, we sing to Durga, we sing to Shiva, we sing to everybody. The essence of all those beings is exactly the same. And the essence of those beings is not different than our own essence, but we don't know that yet. So don't overthink this stuff. There's only one so-called God, one being of which we are all a part. We are all parts of that one being. Maharaj would go, all one. One, one. And Garchen Rinpoche, who's an incredible Lama, Tibetan Rinpoche, he always talks about the delusion of self and others. As long as there's self and others, there's going to be suffering. There's going to be problems because you see yourself as you and others as others, when really there's only one of us. And so that's why when I was just saying, when we do practice, we start to notice the things that pull us out of the practice state, like judging other people. We all see in our own subjective version that's karmically projected onto this so-called external world. So the way to free ourselves is to develop bodhicitta, develop compassion and kindness. Or as Maharaji said, love everyone, feed everyone, remember God. Remember that one of which we're all a part. You know, I remember sitting with him one day, and he grabbed my diary. He grabbed one of my notebooks. I had one book that was a diary, but the other one was like where I would copy out teachings from all the different traditions that I came across that I liked. So he grabbed the book and he starts going through it, and he stopped on one page. And he says, "What's this?" And I looked and I went, "Oh shit!" It's a Buddhist prayer called the Vow of Mahamudra. And I went, "Oh man, I'm busted now. Here I am in Hanuman temple with my guru, and I got this Buddhist stuff, and he's going to bust me." And he said, "Translate some of it." So I couldn't, obviously, but there was an Indian man there, a devotee, Gurudat Sharma, who translated some of the verses. And then Maharaji goes, "Gee, correct, good." I went, "What? Really? What? What does that mean?" He's approving a Buddhist teaching? I mean, this is how stupid I was at the time. Not so much different now. So then I was just kind of like, what? And then he hands me my book. No, then he keeps going through the book, and he came across, we had made these pages of a postage stamp size pictures of him. They were actually stamps, like postage stamps, but they had his picture. We had a whole sheet. Everybody had sheets of them. And he came across one of those little postage stamps in the book, and he goes, "Who's that?" And I said, "Baba, it's you." "Nay, Buddha." That freed me from all the bullshit that you're asking about. And it is bullshit. There's only one of us. Whatever you love is good. Go for it. All the names are the names of one being, of which we are all part. Can you tell about how to overcome depression? Maybe in 30 or 40 years, I'll let you know. Okay, there's many different levels of depression. You know, there's, or shall we say, there's many different depression. It expresses itself in many different ways. In general, through practice, through regular practice over time, we obsess about ourselves less and less. Over time, how we feel retreats into the background. It's no longer the number one most important thing in your life. You wake up, how am I now? How am I now? How am I now? How am I now? All day long, all life long, that's all we do. How am I now? And we're always judging how we feel. Is this right? Should I do this? Should I take some of that? Should I take this medicine? Should I go to therapy? Should I do this? Should I sleep more? Should I go to the movies? Should I drink this? Should I take this drug? What should I do to change my state of mind? As time goes on, you don't give a shit about your state of mind anymore. It's just not What you're here now, which is where we are. That is not something that's possible for everyone to do in the state that we are in. Some people have clinical depression. Some people have depression that has physical causes, emotional causes, trauma causes, and and it can be very useful to work on those situations in many different ways. And any way that you work on releasing the effects of trauma and situations in life that have become very painful and left scars, any way that we work on that is good. However, if you can do a little bit of practice every day, ultimately, this is where the strength to let go of those clenching and that clenching in the heart. I mean, therapy, uh, medicine, there's so many ways so many things that we can do to help relieve depression and change the state of mind. But through practice, that's practice is understood of training ourselves to let go. What's depression? It's thoughts, it's emotional feelings that that it's like being involved and engulfed in a cloud bank. You can't see anything else. It's all dark. It's all mist. You don't know if there's anybody else around. You can't see the mountains. You can't see the sky. How do we disperse that cloud bank? Well, any way that you find to disperse that cloud bank is good. But along with whatever you're doing, a little bit of learning to calm down every day and release whatever you're thinking. Because when you're depressed, you're thinking, there's all kinds of thoughts you have, all kinds of beliefs that are unconsciously pushing you around. As you do practice, you start to see those things a little bit more clearly. And the practice, when I say practice, I mean simply letting go and coming back home. Watch your breath in, out. It's going all the time. You don't have to manufacture anything. You don't have to try to remember a mantra. Watch your breath. Be with the breath. Don't try to have any kind of experience. That's just another thought, another feeling, another desire. Keep coming back to the feeling of the breath going in and out. It's always there. So as we practice that, as we continue remembering to feel the breath, we develop the strength not to be caught by our thoughts and emotions. But this does not, it's not like there are many of us that can't just do that. It won't be enough. The thoughts are too strong. It's like a waterfall. So you have to find a way, other methods to help. But at the same time, whatever method you're doing, it's always good. It's always a positive thing to learn to just calm down for 2 minutes a day. Just stop. And then if you feel depressed and you're angry or sad or blown out, just sit with it. Don't move it. Don't try to push it away. If you're reacting to it, oh, I hate this feeling. Be with that feeling. Don't try to change it right away. Just for a couple of minutes. Give it the space to be there because it's there. It won't always be there. So we want to keep coming back home. We want to find home again and again and again and again and again. I'm thinking of attending the Kundalini Yoga Center in my city, but I have felt self-conscious about whether or not I would be accepted. How do I avoid worrying about others thinking I'm weird? You can't avoid it, nor should you even try. You should try to figure out why you worry about it. You can't control other people. You can't control what they think. Why does that affect you? That's the question you have to answer yourself. Why do you care what other people think? You want something from other people that you feel you need. Acceptance, love, attention, whatever. And so your desire to have that, to fill that hole in your heart with other people's attention, kindness, love, affection, acceptance, you need that. And so you worry whether they will or not. You're going to have to try to figure out why you need that so much. Where does that come from? And develop more confidence in yourself and in your own path. And what does it matter what anyone thinks? That's their problem. People think all kinds of things. We think all kinds of things. That's our problem. You think all kinds of things, and that's what's creating the suffering in you right now. Let it go. Find out where it comes from. Find out a way to deal with it. You can't avoid it. This is your, this is a really, obviously a powerful situation for you where you feel worried about what people think. Who gives a shit? You do? Okay. Figure out why. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. But it's what matters is what you think, and you think it matters, so you get hurt. So the best method for meditation is the practice that you do. Can you tell us how the mantras sing us? Well, what I mean by that is that, like I said before, I think I really answered that already. The mantra, the sound of the name, is the echo of the true self. It's the sound, it's the vibration coming from the one that lives within us as our own true being. And so when we hear that sound and we sing that sound, we're tuning to that place within us that is real love. These names, because in India they say the name and God, or what is named, are not different. But we're not experiencing that. So that's why it's called practice. If when we said Rama, we would experience Rama, which is the whole universe, the one underlying reality beneath all these appearances, that would be great. Maharaj just said, go on, sing your false lying Ram Ram. One of these days you'll really call out and the real Ram will come. So we're practicing, we're faking it. But one of these days we will really call out and the real Ram will come. Because the real Ram is already here. We're the ones who aren't here. How can I make an offering to Maharaji or Hanuman? I've read that devotees would always arrive with something to offer Maharaji. Can we do that in some way from home using his photograph? Yes, you can. And you don't need a photograph to offer anything to him because he's the indwelling presence within us, within all of us. That's who he's become. The antaryami, the indwelling presence, the indwelling being. So what we're really offering when we offer like fruit, we're offering our hearts. It doesn't have to be an external action. What we really want to offer is our hearts. And we want to be able to make that offering, but we really don't know how to do that. Surrender is what we're talking about. But surrender happens through grace. So what he used to say was, purify the heart and wait for grace. He didn't say just wait for grace. He said purify the heart. So what does that mean? Lust, anger, greed, attachment, selfishness, and pride. That's what we have to work with. Let's release those from our heart, and then we will experience the grace, which is always here. I once asked Ma, Siddhi Ma, Maharaj used to tease us. He used to say, he'd look at us Westerners, he said, I have the keys to the mind. He'd say, I could turn your minds against me. I could transfer you. And we said, Baba, don't do that. He would laugh. Of course, he did do it. He transferred us. Here I am in America. I thought I was going to be in India my whole life. Anyway, so he used to say, so I went to Ma and I said, Ma, Maharaj used to say this. So for me, that means that he says he's the doer, not him. God is the doer. So is it all grace or is my effort required? What's the deal? And she said, Krishnadas, it's all grace, but you have to act like it isn't. Because we don't know. We like to, oh, it's all grace, everything's perfect, but then we stub our toe and the day is ruined. Or somebody looks at us weird and we get angry and depressed and vicious and violent. So we don't know it's all grace. We're not experiencing that. We don't have that realization. So we have to act like it isn't all grace and purify our hearts and practice and open our hearts and learn how to treat other people the way we would like to be treated. If we could do that, oh my goodness, our lives would be filled with love and bliss and truth. My husband has died suddenly in September. Will you speak about staying connected with your loved one when they pass over? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, when a loved one leaves the body and quote unquote leaves us behind here in this world, it's very painful because we are identified with our body and emotions and thoughts. When someone else's body, emotions, and thoughts are no longer visible to us, we feel that we've been left behind. We feel alone. And that grief, the grief will fade as time goes on. No question about it. And what will remain is the love, because the love never goes anywhere. The love you experience with your husband, you experienced it within you. So it's still there. And the connection to him is that love. But we get angry and we get hurt and we get pissed off that someone's left us. And we get sad, and those emotions are actually what's blocking us to feel the presence of the beings that we love who have left the body. Almost all of my elders and mentors and teachers have gone. They've all gone. And, I'm very emotional. I cry about all that. I still cry. But it doesn't mean I don't feel their presence. I cry because I want to make them laugh. I want to hug them. I want to kiss them. I want to be with them. What to do? So you just release that. You don't push it away. In some way, it triggers the feeling of the presence of a person who's no longer with us physically. I mean, one of my favorite things with Ram Dass was to make him laugh. I used to be able to make him explode in laughter. We had so much fun. And I miss that. I do. But that doesn't mean he's also not here. So, and when my girlfriend in the old days, in India, my former girlfriend before I went to India, she killed herself, and I was very, very upset. I had a whole breakdown in the temple, and Maharaji said, "You can't." And I wasn't aware of it, but maybe I was thinking of, I wish I was dead or something like that, because he looked at me and he said, "You can't die. What are you going to do? Jump in the river?" And he laughed. It was like 6 inches deep. He said, "Worldly people don't die. Worldly people don't die. People like you and me and our children, parents, relatives, friends, worldly people who are not enlightened, they don't die. Their soul takes another form, another body, another shape, and they continue to work through their karmas just like we will." Like Bob Thurman said, there are no dead beings. The bodies come and go. It's like changing a suit of clothes. It gets worn out, you put a new suit on. So, I was very angry when Maharaji left the body. I was angry at him and I was angry at me because I betrayed that love. I didn't go back to see him when he called for me. And I was tortured by that for years and years and years. But it passed, it passed. And the grief will pass. And when the clouds of grief vaporize and disappear, the sunlight of the presence of the being who you miss will become more apparent again. How can I keep my focus on myself and gratitude instead of meddling in other people's lives? I'm aware that a tendency to criticize others is coming from low self-esteem. Well, so you understand where it's coming from. You try to work with that and let go of that. And when you criticize others, you're really only seeing yourself. And mostly we don't like what we see when we look in the mirror. And everything out there is the mirror. Everybody we don't like are pieces of our own self that we don't like. So if the more you understand that, the less you criticize others, and the more you recognize that you have to do this work and find. The Buddha said that in the whole universe, you'll never find anyone more worthy of love than yourself. That's a hard one for us. We've been beaten up by this world. We've been programmed negatively by our families, just that they've been programmed negatively by our experiences, by the world, what it requires of us to get through the day. And we identify with those negative programs. So, of course, we're going to see them everywhere. But the issue is with ourselves and not with anybody else. It's all about learning how to give ourselves a break. And then we can begin to give others a break. But the funny thing is that as we start giving others a break, we naturally get more relaxed with ourselves and we give ourselves a break. When we think about others more than ourselves, we become kinder to ourselves, which is why Maharaj said, love everyone, serve everyone, feed everyone, and remember God. The more you concentrate on yourself and get stuck in all that shit, the worse you feel. So when I was having that nervous breakdown in the temple, he said, you can't die. Worldly people don't die. Only Jesus died the real death. What is he talking about? He said, he never thought about himself. In that being, there was no sense of separateness, no ego. Everything he did was for the benefit of his people, humanity. He didn't, and he let them take him to the cross. Who cares? Yeah, I'll throw this body away. It makes no difference. They say he could do more work after leaving the body. And a great saint, they say, becomes more powerful after leaving the body when they no longer have to deal with that and have their attention at all confined with that physical space that the body occupies. So yeah, don't criticize. When you're about to open your mouth and criticize, hear the thought in your head and realize you're talking to yourself. And why do you talk to yourself that way? Because you hate yourself. You judge yourself. You loathe yourself. You wish you were something else, someone else. You wish you were taller, shorter, blonder, darker, lighter, fatter, skinnier, whatever. We don't love ourselves as we are. We don't accept ourselves as we are. And that's why we hate everybody else. And that's why we're always looking for other people's acceptance, and we're always looking for love out there because we can't find it here. But this is where it is, and this is where we have to look. And that's what practice is. Did Tiwari get to meet my mother? Yes, he did, but not in India. Tiwari came to America 2 or 3 times over the years, and I believe he met my mother at some time. Yeah, must have. What is the overwhelming feeling of missing love that comes after chanting? Wow, that's a good question. Yeah, that longing that we get in touch with when we chant. When we chant, we are entering into the presence of that love. Now, our minds are so flickery that we barely let ourselves feel it, but we're in it. And so when we stop chanting, when the chanting is over, our hearts just experience this tremendous longing to be in that love because we were close to it. We didn't know how close we were in it. We didn't know how deeply we were in it. And we still don't know because, and that's not, that longing, the missing is, it's not a conscious, it's not an emotion. It's deeper than that. It's the reality of the connection of our soul with the supreme being, the supreme soul. And that's reality, but we don't know that. So the longing is like an echo of that connection. And that longing is what saves us in life. Without the longing, you get born, you graduate high school, you drink some beer, and you die. That's it. With the longing, you start looking for the real thing. You start looking for love everywhere until you find it. And the longing is grace. Yeah. I always sense a slightly humorous take on life in your narrative. How do you stay lighthearted always? Yeah, I'm lighthearted always. Yeah, sure. I'm lighthearted while we're together, and then I'll crash in the side of it in the corner of the room later. You know, if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at anything. So there's nothing funnier than our own stupidity and our own lack of ability to do anything about it. So when you've been in it as long as me, there's no sense getting depressed about it anymore. You know, you just have to kind of laugh. Well, I fucked up again. Too bad. Next time I'll do it again. You know, and Maharaji was also very, very funny, very humorous, very playful. And so maybe a little bit of that will rub off on us. How to discriminate between a genuine spiritual experience and what might be a manifestation of something we learned, heard, or read about another's experience. If your experience makes you a kinder person, if your experience opens you up to see other people and to care about other people, then it's a good chance that it was a spiritual experience. If your experience makes you tense, tight, and angry about holding on to that state of mind, fuck it, let it go, forget it. It was nothing but bullshit. And it wasn't the real thing. It isn't about me and how I feel and my state of mind. And I'm going to keep this bliss and I'm going to hold on to this ecstasy. That's bullshit. That's just spiritual masturbation. It has nothing to do with reality. If you have an experience that allows you to feel love and kindness to other people and maybe to yourself a little bit, then you know you're on the right path. But if you find yourself trying to protect that state of mind, forget it. It's already gone. My 6-year-old enjoys chanting shlokas, but believes there's no God. I'm clueless as to what is the right conversation there. I said, what do you have to initiate him? Let him be a kid. He doesn't have to believe anything. If he likes shlokas, let him repeat. If he doesn't, let him watch TV. He's a kid. You don't have to teach anything to a kid. The kid will learn from how you live your life. Do you believe in God? What do you think that God is? How do you imagine that God is? How do you treat yourself? How do you treat others? That's what the kid's going to learn. If you treat others well, if you show kindness and compassion to people, that kid will learn how to be that way. And that is God. But if you think you can teach a kid something that you don't know, forget about it. I feel like I pay more attention when the chant is relatively new to me and I'm still having to concentrate. When the mantra is already very familiar, I feel that I keep chanting automatically and get distracted. Is it better to keep changing it up and to keep up the concentration? No, it's not better or worse. You, when you notice that it's automatic, see, you're underneath this question is the is the belief that there's some state of mind that you need to hold on to. Your job is to pay attention. That's all. And what you're beginning to understand and notice is how little attention you can actually pay and how hard it is to stay present. That's good that you notice that, because then you can do something about it, which is try to pay more attention. You're going to go away 1 billion times. How many times you come back? 1,000,000,001. You'll always come back when you've gone away. The thought has a certain amount of energy, a certain amount of glue, karmic glue, and it takes you away with it. Then it drops you and you come back. You can't stop that process of the thought taking you away. But you can, every time you come back, by rededicating yourself in that moment to the next mantra, the next repetition, you've planted a seed. And then you're gone again. That's the way it is. Automatic or not. Automatic. No, you shouldn't be going, I'm not feeling anything. No. You should be trying to pay attention, not trying to manipulate your emotions to have any particular type of feeling. That's the thing. You want a particular feeling that you think you get when you're paying attention, but you can't hold on to anything until you really get here. And then there's nothing to hold on to because you're everywhere. You're present. Regardless of what goes through the sky of your mind, you're here. You're not pulled away by it. So it's a good experience. You're learning. You're seeing reality. You're seeing the way things really are, that we can't pay attention. And yes, you do get a little tight when you try too hard. You're not supposed to try too hard. Just keep coming back and noticing, I'm gone again. But when you notice you're gone, you're not. You're back. When you're gone, you don't know that you're here. You don't know where the fuck you are. But when you notice you're gone, oh, you're already back. Keep noticing how it works, what's happening, how it unfolds. There's no hurry. There's nowhere to go. Relax. Take it easy. Just put the time in. I have 2 elderly parents living with me that are getting on and really starting to decline in health and vitality. I'm trying to find my purpose in service to them, but it's very taxing, and I feel I am giving up my freedoms and spiritual health to serve them. Can you help me understand? Well, what freedom do we have? Freedom to go out, drink a beer, go to a movie, freedom to watch TV, freedom to run around, go for a drive, freedom to go eat more than you should. What freedoms are you talking about that you lose by serving your parents? The joke is, if you want to know how you're doing spiritually, go visit your parents, because the connection with the parents is so strong, it pushes every button that there is to push. There's no question about it. And if you're dedicated to becoming free, this can be very useful. But it is a fierce fire. It's a hot fire. But on the other hand, Maharaj used to say to people, to Indian people, mostly, of course, that the highest puja, the highest worship you can do is to serve your parents while they're alive. Now, that's really hard for us Westerners. We have a different emotional shape here in the West. I mean, most of us rushed out of the house as soon as we could. Right after high school, we're gone. As soon as we could get out of the house and live somewhere else, that's what we wanted to do, and get away from our parents. In India, it's not necessarily like that. And in fact, it's not like that in the older days. It certainly wasn't like that. Many families continued to live together for generations, 3 or 4 generations, living in the same house, sometimes in the same room. So what does it mean to serve your parents? Well, there's the external, taking care of them, helping them. That's can be very difficult because there's so many programs running. You want to be accepted by them. You want to be appreciated. You want to get back at them for being such assholes to you when you were a kid, for not letting you go out with that guy or that woman, or not getting you a car when you wanted one. There's so many things going on. And so that's why it's a really hot fire, but a good, fierce purification. But many of us are not up to that, me included. Although now my parents are gone. But there's another aspect to this too. What are we made out of? We're made out of our parents. We're made out of their DNA. We're made out of their emotional traumas. And we don't know our parents as people. We only know them as parents. We didn't see them growing up. We didn't see how they were treated by their parents. We didn't see how they were treated in school. We didn't see if they were bullied. We didn't see if that guy didn't go out with them, with she was in love with as a teenager. We didn't see our parents' hearts get broken. We don't know what they went through. All we know is what happened to us with them. So it's a big thing, parents. So anyway, you do the best you can. And if it's too difficult to serve them in one way, try to find a way that works for you. You have to find a balance. And you have to be honest with yourself too. Are you going to be happy? How are you going to feel? Well, you don't want to do a guilt trip on yourself. That's not what we're talking about. But we owe our parents a tremendous debt. They gave us a body, regardless of what their motivation was at the time. One time I was in the back of the temple with Siddhima, and one of the families of devotees came. The oldest grandchild in the family was about to get married, and they came for blessings and came to the temple and to do a puja. And all these young people came in the back of the temple, and because they knew Ma for years, they were actually they were relatives of hers and distant relatives. So I was sitting there, and I was surrounded by these young people, like everything from like 10 to like 25. And there was so much love between these kids. There were like 15 or 20 of them. And they were talking and laughing, and they were just, I was stunned. And Ma looked at me, and she knew, of course, what I was feeling. And she looked at me and she said, "You see, Krishna Das, you see what you missed by being born in America." Oh, wow. In America, we don't treasure the family. We don't, my family bickered and fought and hated each other. The grandparents didn't like each other. I mean, it was a fucking horror show. So you see what you missed by being born in America. Yeah. Yeah, I do. So, do the best you can. Don't destroy yourself. Do what you can to help them, and honor the situation you find yourself in. It may be very difficult, but it won't last forever. They'll go at some point. And just try to do it in the best way you can. That's all you can do. You do the best you can. That's all everybody is all the time, doing the best they can. And it's not, it, it may not be the greatest, but we're doing the best we can. I want to go to a foreign country for higher education, but it feels like I'm betraying my country and leaving it and going elsewhere to study and maybe work later. Am I really betraying my country? What is a country that you can betray? Is it a thing, a person? You're trying to better yourself. You're trying to take advantage of opportunities that you may have that other people don't have. Make a good life for yourself. What's wrong with that? And if you can't do it in your country, why not do it somewhere else? Did I betray America by going to India to get spiritual teachings? No, they were not available in America 70 years ago. No, couldn't be that much, 50 years ago. So if you have to go, you have to go. You have to listen to your heart. You know, only your heart can tell you what you want to do, what you should do. If your heart tells you you should stay, then stay. If your heart tells you you should go and then come back and try to bring some goodness back to the country, to the people in the country is just made of people. It's not a thing to get betrayed. It's the people. Are you leaving people, or are you going to go help people, find a way to help people? All this is, you have to do what your heart tells you. Is chanting the names the only way for seeds to be planted, or is listening to the names enough for the seeds to be planted? When you chant out loud, you're also chanting in your mind. If you weren't thinking, if you weren't chanting in your mind, it wouldn't come out of your mouth. So it's first in the mind and the intention, and secondly, coming out of the mouth. So the reason we chant out loud is, there are a number of reasons. One reason is simply because it's believed that whoever hears the name gets a blessing. So if you chant out loud, other people will hear the name. But it also helps us pay attention. We're using the breath. We're hearing the sound with the ears. You're breathing. Your body is involved. There's more things to hook your attention on. And so it can make it easier to pay attention and do the practice. If you have a good kind of calm awareness, chanting quietly without vocalizing can be fine. But you may find that you wander more that way. And when you sing out loud, it doesn't have to be at the top of your lungs. You know, it can be very quiet, and that might help you also pay attention. The name is coming from within, so to speak. Somebody says here, when you said during practice chanting with Maharaji, you remembered previous lifetimes, was it scary? I don't remember saying that. And I don't remember remembering previous lifetimes ever. So I don't know what you're talking about. You said during chanting practice with Maharaji, you remembered previous lifetimes. I don't remember. I don't think that happened. At least I don't remember it that way. What is the clicking sound in your hand? Don't be so fucking nosy. The clicking sound in my hand is the mala. I didn't know you could hear it. Let's see. Where are we? A lot of questions this week. My goodness. How many have we been going for how long already? Let me see. A minute, an hour and 6 minutes. Okay. Yeah, where'd that go? Ah, okay. I would appreciate advice for how to allow people around me to act in ways that I think are impulsive and unskillful. Somebody die and make you God? And be okay with that. I gave you my thoughts. Love is letting people be who they are. It's not your world to run. And our crankiness and judgmental attitudes are nothing but a lack of kindness and compassion for ourselves and others. So chill out and don't be so cranky. How's that for spiritual advice? I'm cranky. I remember once I was really cranky. We did this weekend retreat at Garrison, and people were coming along with T-shirts. I survived the Krishna workshop. I was so cranky that weekend. I don't know why. Anybody who wants, you can always ask Maharaji to help you do things, to help things in your life. You can always ask him and connect with him. If you read the hymn called the Vinaya Chalisa, which is a hymn that was written about Maharaji, one of the lines says, "You can bestow any boon, but you only give the ones that help me attain realization." He can give us anything, but he's not going to give us stuff that's going to hurt us. He might let us hurt ourselves if we're really determined to do things that will create suffering. But he will not give us anything that will hurt us. It gives us only good things that we need on the path. So you can connect with him and ask him for anything. Whether you get it or not, you have to live with that. Whether it comes or not, it's a combination of your karmas and his grace, what mixture of that is going to arise. We don't know. You have to live and see. What's the importance of a mala? Is it necessary to chant certain mantras for a specific number of times? A mala is to help you remember to pay some attention, to keep you, to keep the mantra going to some extent while you're talking, while you're doing other things. Because if you're talking and your fingers are moving, you may not actually be consciously chanting, but something's moving your fingers. So there's already something else going on, even though you're not paying attention. So it's helpful because it'll bring you back again from dreamland, bring you back again and again, helps you remember to remember. And as far as any number of repetitions, I was never told by my teachers and my guru to repeat a mantra any number of times. But I was taught by Maharaji that the name, repetition of the name, through the repetition of the name, everything would be accomplished. So one should make an effort to repeat the name sincerely and wholeheartedly as often as possible, and as much as possible. You don't have to count, because then you get into like, oh, I did my 100,000 repetitions, now I should be enlightened. No, it doesn't work like that. There are certain lineages and certain teachings where a certain amount of repetitions are required. That's not where I come from, but they certainly are. The Tibetans have a number that you have to repeat this mantra 100,000 times to 100,000 prostrations, 100,000 visualizations. That's what they require for in their teaching, and they have good reasons for it. Probably we weren't qualified for that, so we just do what we can. How should someone deal with a difficult and stressful marriage life? Well, should the person just pray to God? Where's the God you're going to pray to? Pray to your partner that you can communicate. Pray to yourself that you can get over your fear and be honest with your partner and try to find a way to relate in the best way you can, since you seem to be together for some reason. One has to have courage, which is very difficult. But try communication. It's a rare thing. Who's the photo next to Siddhima? That's Mr. Tiwari, about whom the movie was made. Brilliant Disguise. I would like to know if you were affected during the lockdown. Did you miss the camaraderie of being around people chanting? I missed it like I would miss sitting on hot coals. I loved being home. I loved not traveling. I I I watched as layer after layer after layer of stuff fell off of me. Just being at home, and I was able to chant with everybody. Thursday nights, we did 140 straight Thursday nights, and I felt I was with people. So I felt the camaraderie, and I felt connected to people. Of course, I know a lot of people suffered terribly. I'm not making light of that. But personally, for me, it was a wonderful experience for me. So I can't lie about that. How can I start a meditation practice? There's so many ways. So many ways to start a meditation practice. I would say the easiest thing is to simply sit quietly in a relaxed way, comfortable way, and watch your breath. Set your timer for 3 minutes. Turn your phone off. Set the timer on the phone for 3 minutes and sit there and watch your breath. You will notice that you'll be gone for probably 2 minutes and 58 seconds at the most, at the least. At the least, I don't know. You won't be able to be there at all. That will show you what it's like to try to develop a meditation practice. Of course, you can also sing along with Krishna Das. That's meditation too. And there's music, there's sound. That's also repetition of the name. Maybe it feels good, but pay attention. Put the headphones on and sing along. Mentally, vocally, it doesn't matter. But paying attention is what's important. But if you don't want to do that, you can really, the most simplest thing, the breath is always, as long as you're in a body, your breath is going to be coming in and out. So it's a wonderful way, entrance into the present moment. You'll watch your breath, and then you'll notice you're thinking. And you'll notice you've been thinking for 10 minutes. And then you finally come back to your breath. And it's very clear when you're here and when you're not here. So that's a very useful practice, a very good way to begin. But if you're more attracted to mantra chanting and chanting the name, sing along with anybody who puts chants out there. That's practice. That will help you develop an inner flow, which is the same as watching your breath, the flow of presence, of being here. It's like a flow of awareness. Okay, so that was nice. I enjoyed this little chat together. Now Serena's gonna put up some music, 3 or 4, I think, different chants from the past, greatest hits of the Kali Yuga, so to speak. So take good care, and all the best. All the best. May everybody be safe, be happy. And here's a little bit of a Tibetan, a prayer from the Tibetan tradition. It's called the offering of merit. Like this time we spent together discussing these things. These are good things. And it's a good vibration. So by this merit may omniscience be attained. And may the kleshas, the enemy, be destroyed. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, may all sentient beings be freed. Loka samasta, sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy. Namaste. Guru Charana Sarojara Jamanam Kuru Sudha Varano Raghubara Vimalajala Sodaya Kuru Palachara
Good. Shiva